Sunday, the 10th of October. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord above that we made it through another Sunday with absolute divine elevation. Divine elevation, I say, a divine elevation. You're going to come in and walk out with an absolute divine elevation if you take full sense of today's series. It is Proclamation News and Gatherence. It is the prodigious, the prominent professor at PNG. Thank you all for tuning in. As always, give God's grace on a Sunday ceremony every Sunday of the year. We should be going to. You should be at church every Sunday without fail. Hallelujah. It's only second Sunday of this month, and I'd like to address a little short prayer with a little reading. I'm going to have a little reading before I talk about money inequalities. I might get onto a bit of diversity with equalities as well. We'll see. We'll see how the day plans out. I'm going to tell you, because some of this reading today is going to be a bit textbook and some is going to be general knowledge. So let's enjoy. First of all, when we pray and we believe in God, you have to believe within mind, heart, and soul. You have to put your all. Say it like in your study, isn't it? Whatever you're studying, you have to put your mind, your heart, and your soul. You have to give these offerings to be absolute prodigious within your occupation, haven't you? Within your occupation, you've got to put your mind, heart, and soul into efforts of the job. I'd just like to say I am a member of St. John's Church. So I'm also a speaker of the people of my community, working hard, hand in hand, day out through day out with my community. Do I deserve a step in the right direction? That's up to you guys to make your own mind up. I've been given the car incidents throughout the UK, knife crime. There's been dog walkers over Highwoods Country Park with dogs that look like lions, a Rottweiler, not on the lead. Country Park, Country Reservoir. You could be fishermen over there, kids over there. Got a dog like a lion off a lead. Very, very dangerous. Doesn't matter how well you look after that dog, whatever dog you got. If you smack your dog, say your dog ate your car keys before you left the house, take your dog for a walk. You smack your dog for doing it. That dog might then take it out of someone else. That's what happens, isn't it? That's what happens. You can be upset with someone, but take your anger out on someone else or something else. Remember, like being a kid, my psychological remembrance of being a kid. My dad would have a go at me. Then I'd go and shout at my mum for it. You know? So we know through psychology reason that's exactly the same thinking mechanism for an animal. It won't bite his owner, but it bites someone else. So then dogs should not be on a lead. And that's why I need to be in this position today, to get my voice and my opinion heard. I'm a quiet person. I don't speak in public because people try and shut me down. They knock my confidence. Speaker. Exactly what I want people to understand and acknowledge with how long I've been doing Castbox. I've been doing Castbox for like 5 minutes. I've been doing YouTube for 5 minutes. I've been doing it for 3-4 years. Gaining evidence since 1996, really, come to think about it, since I've done media studies, looking at broadsheet tabloids. It's all there in your eyes, isn't it? Reading all the criminology which is in your eyes every day. You're seeing the market society being influenced by idiots, turning to alcoholism, narcotics, whatever. You see it every day of the week. Anyway, let's get on to what we're going to get on with before I go on a tangent about something else. We just want to have a blessed morning before we move on to the righteousness with my education. But first of all, Creation Day 1. Genesis chapter 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In the beginning, God created. These are surely the most thought-provoking words in the English language. The variety and intricacy across the whole of the world of nature are beyond our imagination. Yet the Bible tells us that God did all this alone and without lifting a finger. He simply spoke and it came into being. Now that's power that can only come from God. Don't let the world erase him from our vocabulary. Today, sadly, his name seems only to be used as a cry of blasphemy. In our world today, so many admire the creation around us, but totally ignore the Creator himself. They even try to replace him with Mother Nature rather than acknowledge his existence. Some folk try to take the clever route and explain God away using science. All theories of the origins of our universe start at step 2 because we always need the gift of a first step. No one can yet create something out of nothing. Our God, however, just spoke everything into existence. He needed no starter pack. Part of our witness as believers is to continue the world that our Creator staying within anything, methodical, whatever you like reading. I mean, I've always been church ever since I was a kid. I'm Christian. I don't want to scare people off because I know, but it's not everyone's on everyone's agenda to-do list, is it? Unfortunately, I'd like to make the world a better place. Believe me, I would. But we can't all make the world a better place. But other people got better ideas, what they think is better ideas in their own device. Everyone's got their own thoughtful device, thoughtful mechanism. But if I could paint the world holy, I would. Away from alcoholism, narcotics, any kind of criminology. I want to influence the youth for today to not get into offending. Why do kids feel the need? What I'm assuming, like these kids that do knife offences, stabbings, which we occur quite frequently when I'm reading a normal tabloid or broadsheet newspaper, happens all the time. I'm thinking, is it the parents' fault? Not always the parents' fault. Not always. Sometimes it could be a broken relationship where the father is not there for his kids. Where the father's not there, or because the father's a big influence for the children, isn't he? Absolutely. Father wants the best for his children, trying to take them down the right avenues, or father, has always been to church, always took his children to church, took his children to the gym to look after their mental health, their mental wealth, their well-being, absolutely everything. It's not only that, boxing, which I used to do, is a great thing to get your kids into. Same as army, isn't it? I know it's all a market society, but it's better influencing your kids that way than letting your kids make up their mind for themselves from the troubled world and picking up knives and whatever. Exactly what I'm getting at. But anyway, it's not always the best way. You could have teach your kid to read a book when he's angry or do some painting when he's angry, but it's definitely a better way than sitting down a pub with his mates drinking alcohol and narcotics or whatever. That's what I'm saying. And kids are quite easily led as well by other kids. Doesn't matter how posh or good your family are. When they get in university, you see it all the time. 2 girls in Hertfordshire Constabulary died of ketamine overdose. These are two bright kids that go to university that die of ketamine overdose on the weekend. You hear that a lot. They do a lot of drinking. I mean, what about their study? What are they doing about their study? While they're drinking, they're not studying. They're not thinking about their study. Anyway, I just want to get onto the context of Michael Sandel. Let's get onto the context of Michael Sandel investigating money, introducing the theme of money. Before we get onto Michael Sandel, let's just think about the psychology fact of money. When you've got £50 in your pocket, you feel good, don't you? You feel good. You feel like you're middle class, don't you? You feel like you're middle class. You got 50 quid in your pocket. What can you get out of 50 quid? You could buy a top through it, a new jumper, a new pair of trainers theoretically. Maybe not top of the range, but middle market of the range. Or you can go and buy some food. But do you know what I despise is the humanities that will use that 50 quid to buy alcohol or narcotics. That's what I despise. I've got my downfall. I do have a downfall. I do smoke. I've given up. I do have the odd fallback where I do smoke. So I'm not perfect. So don't think what I'm saying is how you should act. But you could act to be better. I'm not perfect. I'm trying to be perfect. I do have fall back on smoking, which I need to give up. But how I cope with my I've got a lot of endorphins. I'm an ex-professional boxer, and I had a bit of a troubled upbringing, but through ex-girlfriend and all that kind of thing, bit of a troubled upbringing. I was together for 15 years, went for the mill of things. It wasn't easy, it wasn't plain sailing, and I use smoking for my coping mechanism, and I still do every now and then when I feel a bit antagonised by a certain situation. I try not to. I'd rather read a book or go, do a short brisk walk or do a few exercises because I know that helps as well. Reading, painting is very good. Anyone that suffers with, because men are going to suffer. No, women do suffer anguish as well. Let's stop hiding behind women ain't aggressive, because some are, believe me. And I can tell you now, my ex-wife is very, very, coming from her family roots. You don't have to look at their police record, and that says it for you. So I don't even have to answer for that. The answer is with the makers. The same as anyone else. Your righteousness to whatever else. Anyway, Michael Sandel. Yeah, what can money do to the psychology of thinking? Yeah, 50 quid in your pocket. You feel like a different class from the most deprived people, don't you? You probably look down at the tramps in the street, in a duvet, sitting in a duvet. You make assumptions of a tramp. You look at them, you want to spit on them. That's how you feel, is it? Or would you offer them a fiver at your 50 quid? What sort of person are you? Got probably the least deprived person sitting on the street in a duvet. How long till someone goes, "Here, mate, it's 50 quid, go and buy yourself a coffee or McDonald's, warm yourself up"? Would you actually do that? That's the trouble with money and people's personality. I've got no money. I'm in debt, but I do give my offerings to church. I try and give my offerings to church as much as possible when I can. I do this radio for whatever hours. I don't always get money tipped back for a good job I'm doing, trying to influence all humanity to act in a righteous, civil manner. I don't get paid for it. I do it out of goodness of my heart. Anyway, Michael Sandel, looking at investigating social wealth through a professor and a teacher of Harvard University. Michael Sandel, 2013, has expressed concerns about the rapid changes in the role of meaning of money and increasing commodification of so many years our lives, or to put it in another way, the increasing tendency to put a price on things. To put a price on things. I'm going to talk about this after. Sandel is concerned about a drift towards a market society where almost anything and everything is up for sale. And I'll add that bit on because to me, it seems like anything and everything goes up for sale. And even people's bodies and health can be commodified for advertising or experiments. Which thing he's saying there? People's I've got significant health. No, wait, hang on. Yeah, this is what he says. And where even people's bodies and health can be commodified advertising or experiments. What do you think he's trying to get there? Where anything's up for sale, where even people's bodies and health can be commodified for advertising or experiments. Football, boxing, hockey, mobile racing. Page 3, naked models, people that sell their body. You're selling yourself as an expense for others to make a fortune. I was a professional boxer for 5 years, but when I first started boxing, I had a choice. I could have sat on personal independence payment because I was theoretically disabled, I fractured skull. I've still got issues now. I had an MRI a few months ago. Come back. Apart from the other underlying issues I've got, secondary Raynaud's disease, IBS. It comes back with my eye scan. I've got post-traumatic concussion syndrome. Post-traumatic concussion syndrome. That's what happens. Put your body experiment your body. In the long run, it'll deteriorate. If you're a football player, heading the ball, your joints and your knees, your ankles, your hips. Swimming, even swimmers, doing it at everyone else's expense to watch, to get cheered. But you think, what you're doing in the long run, your shoulders, everything's the right moderation. But if you do it too much to try and be the best, you're putting stress on your body. Obviously, I'm good at, I'm very, 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 very intelligent with nutrition. He argues that the significant health and safety risks of such moves means that the poor people will be more vulnerable to sell their bodies in such a way to acquire money, perhaps to pay for their studies or for basic needs. Another example, he gives concerns the use of private personnel, rather than cite military personnel, to fight in Afghanistan. This may mean that the poorest in society take risks and become dispensable commodities. If money is to change social practices too significantly, he argues society losing many fundamental shared values. For Sandel, these changes cause an intensification of inequality, which is followed to continue, will create a danger of society becoming increasingly and more significantly divided. Sand also claims that inequality is pushed beyond certain limits, threatens a good life for every day in society, and inequalities are in many ways already having significant impacts on social lives. This one particular, social science argument about the relationships between money and equality. Next, we will look at 2 further social science arguments about money and inequality, showing how different social science arguments can help us to further investigate the social world through the lens of inequality. I mean, to the poor society now, in this day and age, let's be honest, like this day and age in the UK, maybe all over, same principles in different, most governments, apart from the places like Haiti, Venezuela, where they've got no support for the inequalities throughout the world. A place like England, America, you got families that absolutely millionaires. Doesn't necessarily mean their child is going to make it through the bracket of being rich, through whatever. Like, see, Britney Spears, her dad is a rich guy. Britney Spears had a great start to her future, but through a market society. And that's what her father put down whole because it gave her a nervous breakdown. Being in the limelight does give you a nervous breakdown when people turn against you. Because people are very, very divisive and they stick like sheep. After that breakdown, was it Justin Timberlake, I believe. This is all my own additives to the story of inequalities. Just saying, like, the rich people doesn't mean the children is going to have successful lifestyle or career. Not always, because that money might get used on alcoholism or narcotics. That money can then be gone. Look at that guy that won the national lottery, spent it all on cars and made banger race in his back garden thinking he's all clever. Burnt his money on alcohol, drugs, and it's all gone. He's now probably a middle class or even below middle class in society. All that money went. If that's what I'm saying. If you work for your education, like this, another thing that Michael Sandel said on one of his audio books. I haven't got it with me. It's not going to be played, so it's on an audio book on my study. He said about giving child a cash incentive, which there you go. Rich families doesn't mean their child is going to be a great success in education. You've got the poor families where, I mean, let's say my lifestyle thing. I might not make it. I haven't got there yet, but I'm trying. I'll probably starting off in a sociological science of the world. I brought up in a suburban area. I see kids getting stabbed. I see kids doing narcotics. I think kids raping people, kids paedophiles, all kinds of things I've brought up. I was on a society that was just the criminology. I wasn't my street. It was a really run down street on the opposing side of the road. No, not opposite side of the road, but opposite one side, and then next turning on the left. I got on Langham Drive. I think it was Langham Drive. Peterborough, I can't remember the name of the roads, but anyway, all them roads, it was so much went on down them roads, through hackers and broken homes. But some of my friends that have come out of that road are doing really well for themselves now. They haven't had much chance for the schools, lack of education, lack of life chances. Going to prepaid one of the schools that is a open up to all walks of life, not a private school. It's hard to maintain a good life because you need to sacrifice yourself away from the people that have got no hope or don't want to do no good. So that's what I'm trying to talk about, the inequalities. Sometimes later in life, you got a middle class family started off with their child in the same school as a low class family. Some of these low class families, their child will be absolutely amazing getting to university, but I'm saying like middle class can be affected sometimes by the poor, and that's why it's inequalities is thought differently of in some circumstances. Anyway, we're going to look at Ulrich Beck. Ulrich, it says Ulrich Beck, but it's Ulrich Beck because he's German. The German social scientist Ulrich Beck has argued that neither class nor nationality are of great significance in understanding equality in a contemporary world where persons, groups, populations across a nation-state boundaries are significantly affected by their situation, life, opportunities, by the consequences of their decisions of structures or others. Beck, 2007, page 692. Decisions and structures that Beck refers to relate particularly to inequalities associated with risk, whereby the most powerful and the rich in society are to pay their way out of risky environments. Yeah, that is true, absolutely. As the risks associated with activities such as industrial production sites are moved to other parts of society. Remember this, right? What I just said. So the rich in society can buy their way out of risky environments. Remember that. We're going to come back to that in a minute. The inequalities of the risks are accentuated. One such example would be exporting of toxic materials, including nuclear and chemical byproducts, for the rich. The enormous risks associated with economic production are poor people have no choice and potentially not even necessary knowledge to protect themselves from the risk to their health and livelihoods. So you got these byproducts being built in a massive, in a massive industrialization site. These poor people won't acknowledge what they could do. Some families, not all, because some poor families are educated. They get a chance to educate. They get a chance to go and buy the. Some people don't know where to go and buy tuition from. You can buy it from the. If people can't afford it, one way to learn it. There's one way to learn it. Go to charity shops, get the books cheap, then learn it. Show that you're capable. Show the university that you're capable, and they might give you some acknowledgement or try adult learning. There's loads of constitutes that you can try and build your education. Families with children, if you're coming in my radio live, you're a middle class family, maybe not able to afford the children's, education. There's ways for them to get the loan, but they've got to prove themselves. They've got to prove themselves that they can read the books. They'll prove themselves they can sacrifice themselves away from inhumane society. If you want to be somebody, if you want to go somewhere, just like Sister Act says, you better wake up and pay attention. Absolutely. You want the best for your child. You want your children to make success. Hang on. Right. This is talking about. We're having a discussion. Sandal. They arise from the increase of commodification. This is like a conclusion now of aspects of social life, which creates a situation where the poor become more vulnerable through a greater need to realise the monetary value of things, such as their own bodies. Then we're going to the conclusion of Ulrich Beck. Just find the start. Oh yeah, for Beck, the story is slightly different. It is not about selling personal or national interests, but those that already have financial dominance, using it to score themselves against environmental risks, saying like the richer have got money to get themselves out of a risky situation, such as pollution, which are in turn transferred to the poor. Across all of the examples, it seems that inequality is created through the process of buying and selling. So the kind of questions we want to ask about money might include: what is the relationship between money and authority? If you've got more money, it gives you that more authority, doesn't it? It proves it in a prison. You can buy your own cell in a prison. You can buy your own cell in a prison if you've got money. You can get a quiet room or a bigger room with TV in it and whatever else if you've got money. It is possible to put a price on risk avoidance. Does financial commodification lead to social division? Each of three arguments draw a range of evidence. For these examples, I only lightly touched upon. The texts themselves provide a great deal of detail and explanation to demonstrate their evidential value. For Sandal, these range of personal health care to military personnel. There you go. That's the just drawing up on inequalities through the world. Inequalities can be for depends who's running that constituency. Could be through sex, class, race, agenda. Could be for anything. But this circumstance is about money. You see how race and culture gets brought into it, because it's not. I don't think 9 times out of 10 it's someone being fascist. Like the rich. Like you go into a part of London, you've got a part where all the Jews are rich. All the Jews, like a rich society full of Jewish shops. They've got their own little town. They've got Chinatown. They've got little, they've got separate boroughs for separate people, so they feel in their own commodity. They're in their own commodity, making business. Is there anything wrong with that? Not at all. Not at all. Can we say there's something wrong with that? No. Can't have opinion. You can't even have an opinion on it. It's what is set in stone by the government, just to give people their rights. It's about human rights, policy rights. And you'd feel better, wouldn't you? You've got a load of Christians. You're in a town full of Christians. You're abiding by your principles of law. That's where law starts in the Bible. Law starts in the Bible. Human rights, policy rights. You get 10 commandments. Then 10 commandments you try and abide by the best you can. One thing I always really, really wanted as a child, been going to church: sex before marriage. no baby before your baby, no baby after marriage. I got engaged when I was 18, and I don't know. Life just took its toll on me. Life took its toll on me. Football, being in the sporting industry, took its toll on my thinking mechanism. Didn't think. You don't think, do you? You don't think who helped you get there. You don't think who was picking you up when everything was gone. 18, I got engaged. She's a very happy married person now, and you know what? To me, that's like, we don't talk, but we do talk, sit there, but we don't go out of the way to talk to each other. Not what you do when she's married. She's happily married to another Johnson, which is really, really, it's good, isn't it? Still a Johnson, still part of my family. It makes me happy that she's happy in life. But money and equalities makes people. It does change people's perspective, how they act with one another. Absolutely. What I was going to talk about, a specific thing that you guys might enjoy. If any of you want to call in, you're more than welcome. You want to be part of the discussion. I've got things. I don't know if you guys are in my constituency or not. I'm living in Essex. I live in Colchester, Highwards. We've got some things that are being attended to by the populace of Highwards, Colchester. Things that are being done and generated on. We've got 20 mile per hour Highwards. It must be 10 years plus since Essex County Council said they wanted to reduce the speed limit on Mill Road and install calming measures. We were supportive as the majority of our residents at the time wanted this, including build-outs rather than platforms. All these years later, Essex are looking at an issue again, doing nothing for the past 10 years plus. Due to length of the time, process needs to start again. I'm reading all off paper materials today. It's a different, I've usually got my knowledge upstairs, but all this is what is getting put in place in Essex, or what has been put in place. Funding is secured by local highways panel. They do their own traffic survey, which needs to meet the ECC's criteria. If the criteria is met, the local highways panel allocate funded, subject to budgets. Portfolio, however, the county approves. The road layout will remain the same, but the signage will be installed. There will not be build-outs or calming measures. Road highlights education for speed limits are Mill Road, Brinkley Lane, Gavin Watt Bottom section, Eastwood Drive, Durban Road, Chinook, Berkeley Close, Highwards Approach, Brinkley Grove. We are told we could not include roads like Ipswich Road or Seville Lane. So all Highwards has gone down to 20 miles per hour. For safety of the children around here, I believe. There's just loads of young kids around this area. And it's more this area where I live. I think it's more, kids that want to make something of themselves. They're in this sort of area of Highwards where I am. They've got some high rate schools here. I remember growing up, I used to go to Canal. It has another good school, I may say. I've been to Church of England school. Canal was another good school. But the schools around here are very good at most things: sports, education. My primary school was really good as well. Tesco abandoned trolleys. We get a lot of calls about abandoned trolleys. We've asked Tesco many times to introduce pound in the slot trolleys, but they have refused. Instead, they have employed a contractor to collect their trolleys called Trolley Wires. The number is 07860 752 096. They are paid to collect dumb trolleys, and they do go around Highwards. Is a very big place. So if you see any and they get on your nerves, ring the number above or download the app. Youth zone. Everyone's worried about what are you, I mean, this could apply to everyone. So it's important that you guys listen for wherever you are over the globe. Youth zone update. You can ask for changes in your constituency through your local MP or your local councillor. Financially irresponsible. The town bid dropped the youth zone because after 2+ years of trying to identify a location that was acceptable, it would happen under the last Lib administration. Britannia Car Park was considered, but we were told that Chancellor Lilly wanted to keep it as a car park. There was no capital fund or future revenue costs identified. Youth zones are run by the county council, who are responsible for providing this. The idea has not been scrapped. Further investigation needs to take place to avoid being in the same situation as the last administration. Whether we do has to be financially responsible. Latest from Councillor David King of Essex County Council. What do councils do? It's a big list: education, highways, transport, planning, passenger transport, libraries, waste disposal, and strategy planning. What we do not see: best value like fostering and adoption, and things we really do not like: potholes and roadworks. There you go. If you've seen your potholes and roadworks, please, yeah, get onto the Essex Council or your council, wherever you are, like I say, in the UK or maybe in the US. You need to speak to your local. I don't know how it works in the US, but might be a council. I'm not sure what it is. All different terminology in America. Helping our schools and children. The Gilbert is an excellent school, home for students who attend the Trinity School of Chesterwell. When open, delay and disruption are a worry. I have been assured by the Department of Education that temporary accommodation will be available and the new school will happen. DfE say they will appoint a new build contractor soon. We will continue to press for progress and news. Getting better out of the council. Priorities: improving cycles across Colchester, improving the plans for long delayed bus lanes by the nearby Northern Approach, getting further work Highwood Approach at Mile End Turner Road as it serves the hospital that serves us all. Responsibility, reporting the issues. A huge thank you to all residents and the Drive for continuing to raise pothole and any other issues and report them to Essex Highways website. Followed up by the regularly get what progress I can, and with your help I'll continue to press for better. So if anyone sees any potholes, doesn't matter where you are in England, obviously I'm hoping we've got a lot of people listening from our constituency as well, because they can report to the local council. We've got a pothole down at M25, such and such, it burst my tyre, or it might burst the tyre, or many tyres behind you. Report it, rather than be on Facebook moaning about it. Report it, because it'll get it dealt with. The more you feel like you're interested, the more you might have to change your job in the long run. You might be able to be part of it eventually, but you got to make note. You need to make note. The hospital matters. I meet regularly with social estates team to support them and to press improvements in facilities and visit. I've got a big thing to debate about this. This is on a topic of mine the other day. And patient experience. Many delivered this last year. The site is complex and space limited. One day we will need a new hospital for now. I've asked for an access road from the Northern Approach Road. The good news is agreed in principle. Now, if you're a young adult, like in your 20s, 18, 19, or you've got kids of your own that are in your 18, 20s, we need more medical staff. Why not influence your teenager to become a medical staff to save someone's life? We need more medical staff. They're crying out for medical staff. Why don't you make that your child's bread and butter, rather than get them into market society that potentially could lead them? It ruins people. Market society ruins children, thinking your kid could be the next football player, when you're in a no hope zone to even get where they want to get unless they move away from their family. being a medical advisor in your local area is phenomenal. Your chance of your child sign up to Man United or Arsenal, their favourite team. It's the travel they've got to think about. And then you've got to think about moving away from their family. Are they going to be okay with that? Are you going to be okay with that? Why don't you get your child to get a profession like working as a medical team? Helping your good cause. I was pleased to resecure 2,000 summer COVID funds. That will help Highwood's projects like Make Lunch, the Community Garden and the Community Larder, which provides groceries at nominal costs to anyone who needs it. I'm now talking to local schools about how I might provide them with grants towards their forest, growing wildflower in similar green projects that raise awareness, help mental and physical health. More news soon. Ideas from community good cause. Let me know. You can contact Chancellor David.King at essex.gov.uk. Measure call 077 385 22641. That is all for me today. My mum's just ringing. I better say God bless. Hi, Mum. You alright? Yeah, I just just got back from not long got back from church. It wasn't the hog roast today. It was yesterday. Yeah, I know. We could have gone as well. We could have gone to that instead. No. Oh, Mum, there's this bloke